Are you a beginner or someone looking for a really simple crystal grid for healing? I'm going to show you a really simple step-by-step guide to making your own crystal grid for healing that only uses 7 stones, so you can make this in a hurry and you won't need a lot of crystals to make it. Plus, if you stick around, I'll also be sharing with you a free printable crystal grid template that you can use to make this grid and other ones in the future. So I'll be sharing with you substitutes for the crystals I've used, so you've got some other options available, and I'll be showing variations on this grid if you do want to adapt it. Hi, I'm Lazzerini, and I'm the author of 3 crystal healing books, including the Amazon #1 bestseller, Crystal Grid's Power. There are lots of different crystal grids out there, but the problem I notice is people don't often explain why certain crystals were used, or the meaning of the sacred geometry. But you will find in my video that I will be explaining everything I've used. You can use this crystal grid on yourself, or you can do it on someone you know that needs it or is requesting healing energy. And of course, make sure you ask for someone's permission if you're doing this for someone else, if possible. And this is a general healing crystal grid that is designed to balance your energy and support the healing process. Now, of course, you shouldn't use this crystal grid as a substitute for medicine or professional medical advice. So for this crystal grid, we'll be working with a medium-sized Amazonite. And we're working with Amazonite because it balances energy and it supports healing. So it is a healing stone. It also has soothing and calming qualities to it, which is very useful if you're unwell. And if you can't get Amazonite, substitutes I would recommend would be chevron amethyst, which is amethyst with usually white quartz throughout it, and also a lapis lazuli. Both healing stones, both support healing. So you can use a tumble stone here for the central stone, but I do recommend that you really amplify the power of your crystal with sacred geometry. So here is a crystal point. You could also use a pyramid like this. And the other shapes I would use in a healing grid like this, in addition to these two, would be a sphere or a heart. You will also need 6 clear quartz crystal points, and these can be natural or they can be carved into shape. And these don't need to be very big, and you can use single or double terminated crystal points. And the reason we're working with clear quartz is because it channels healing energy, and it also has some cleansing properties. And I work with clear quartz in all my crystal grids. And the reason I do that is because it amplifies the energy of all the other crystals in the grid and your intention. So the only alternative I would recommend here is to mix in 3 clear quartz crystals with 3 smoky quartz crystals. And basically the reason we're using points is because crystal points direct and focus the energy throughout the grid. And when you invest in 6 clear quartz crystal points, you can use them in every single crystal grid you do. So it's a really good investment, especially if you plan on making more crystal grids. For this crystal grid, we'll be working with the sacred geometry of the flower of life. And this is important because it's going to form the blueprint that forms the energetic pattern behind your crystal grid. And of course, you can use a crystal grid board like this, and I will be using this today. Or you could use a crystal grid cloth like this. Just be careful if you're buying online that you don't get one of these tiny little crystal grids. So check the size. You want something about 6 inches or above so that you can easily fit all your crystals on, and also it doesn't need to be huge either. And I will give you a download link if you don't have that or you can't get one of those, and you'll be able to download and print your own crystal grid base onto a piece of card. And we're using the ancient symbol of the flower of life because it connects with the natural flow of energy in nature and throughout the universe. It supports healing and is helpful in rebalancing energy. So that's why I've chosen this. So hopefully you can see that all the crystals I've chosen, all the geometry, the shapes of the crystals we've chosen, all has a purpose and a meaning behind it. None of this is random or for aesthetics, and it is chosen specifically for this grid for healing. To keep things really simple, I'm going to show you a really easy way to activate your crystal grids, and this is one of the most simple methods I know. There are more advanced ways to do this, and I do share them in my books, but this way is the way that I think you're going to find easy if you're a beginner. So what activation does is it's basically programming the crystals or infusing them with your intention so that the crystals can be you're communicating with them so that they can assist you, work together as a group, and start working towards your intention. Now this part is optional, but I do like to do it. Is if you take a pen and paper, you just need a small sort of square of paper, so post-it note will do, and you just write your intention on this piece of paper. So you could put, I am healed on all levels, or you could also say, if it's for someone else, you name the person, is healed on all levels. So make sure that you cleanse all your crystals and all the items you're using to make your crystal grids in the method and with the method that you prefer. I'm using some dragon's blood incense here. So what you're going to do is you're going to gather all your crystals together, and hopefully you can fit them all in your hands together like this, along with your post-it note or your little note that you're working with if you're using it. And before you begin, maybe close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. And then once you've done that, you're going to raise all your crystals up to your third eye point, which is just here. So just between your eyebrows or just slightly above the eyebrows. And you're going to hold these crystals there like this. And as you do that, you are going to focus on your intention, and you're going to see it how you imagine your ideal result to be. So in this case, it will be imagining yourself or someone else in a healed and healthy state. And you're going to focus on that energy. What you're going to do is you're going to basically say out loud, or you can say this inside your head, a statement, which is your way of activating the grid. And this can be, may this crystal grid restore health and bring healing to, and you can say your name at this point or the name of the person, if that be for their highest and greatest good. Now you can begin arranging your crystals into their positions. Okay, so you're going to start by placing your note, if you're using it, down first in the middle of the grid. Then your central stone, which is Amazonite, goes on top. Next, you're going to take your crystal points and place them into the positions I am using here. So they're basically going in the center of these stars or flower shapes, and it's following a hexagonal pattern which works with the shape of our grid. Okay, let me now show you a couple of variations. So one of the ones was the one I mentioned in the beginning. So we'd remove 3 of the clear quartz and replace those with smoky quartz. And smoky quartz is more cleansing than clear quartz and is very good for negative energy and removing the effects of that. Also for helping remove negative thought patterns or helping you cope with them better. And the other thing you could use is you can actually increase the number of crystals if you want, and you can use amethyst, you can use tumble stones like this, or you could use amethyst points. And what you would do is these would be placed in these other points, center of the pattern that you can see formed creates a flower. So you could do that. Another option would be to place them here in the inner ring, and then you could also move these points out to create more space, extend the grid. So the reason I added in the amethyst is because amethyst will transmute negative energy. so turns lower energies into higher energies, which is important for the healing process. And there you go. So your healing grid will just, you've activated it, so as soon as everything's in position, it starts beaming and sending out healing energy to wherever it's needed. Before I show you what to do after you've set up your grid, if you found this video to be helpful in any way, please give it a thumbs up because this will let me know that you want to see more videos like this. Also, if you're not already subscribed, then please subscribe to get more content like this. So you can take your crystal grid down once you or the person the crystal grid was made from is feeling better. And then after that, you can disassemble your crystals, you can cleanse them, and deactivate your crystal grid. And I can show you in the description. I have included a link to a blog article if you need help in deprogramming or deactivating crystals, so that will remove the intention that you placed within them. And if you'd like a free download to make a printable crystal grid template with the flower of life, which I'm showing here, then I have included a link to where you can get that from me, and you don't need to enter your email address, you don't need to sign up for anything, you just click that link and you'll get a PDF that you can print out yourself, and you can use it for other crystal grids as well because it's such a useful symbol. If you want to go deeper, do check out my book, Crystal Grids Power. It contains 34 intention-based crystal grids for many different types of purposes, with clear step-by-step instructions throughout. There's also a few very simple crystal grids in there, and there's also more advanced and intermediate type of crystal grids that you can try, including a more advanced version of the healing crystal grid. In fact, it's a completely different one with different geometry. I've had great results for myself and others with that. People contact me all the time with that, so do check that out if you're interested. I've included a link in the description to where you can get my books from, and available in paperback and ebook versions as well. And if you've got any questions about this crystal grid here that I've shown you, then just pop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.